Hey guys, Root Beer here. We're looking at question number 10 now on the 2004 Cayley contest. If the figure shown is folded to make a cube, so this is what we call a net, what letter is opposite G? Okay. So, this sort of question, it's a spatial reasoning question, it's a three-dimensional style question, and it's a sort of question where I would recommend maybe that you brought some scissors, because if you got scissors and some scrap paper, you could actually make this sort of net and at least fold it up a little bit. If you had tape, of course you could fold it completely. But getting the pieces together would be close enough. And I think I made a video a little while ago about sort of materials to bring, and if you know ahead of time you're allowed to bring things like scissors, and there happens to be a net question, you're sitting pretty, you don't need to worry. Other than that, we sort of need to be comfortable with three-dimensional reasoning, and can we turn this 2D shape, at least in our minds, into a three-dimensional shape, a cube. Okay? And that's something that you just sort of need to get practice on. You need to see it done a few times. So I'm going to explain sort of how I reason through this one. Okay? So when I think about this cube here, I start thinking about what can't be opposite G? Well, anything touching G, so that rules H out right away. Doesn't necessarily rule out many of these other ones. And then I have to sort of visualize, well, what does a cube look like? So I'm just going to draw my net here. I, J, K, and I think the bottom one was L. S. My mistake. So I'll make the J a little clearer and S. So what does a cube look like? A cube is a very special object. He's got squares for all his sides, and at every edge there are 2 squares, and at every corner there are 3 squares. So when I look at this figure and I try and fold it in my head, I start focusing on places that I see 3 squares meeting at corners. These are going to be the corners of my cube. Okay. So what do they mean? This GHI is going to sort of, if we just drop away the rest of the figure, it's gonna these pieces are going to sort of fold together, and we're going to get, we'll sort of put I down here, and the H bends upward, so the H sort of pops out towards the I, and the G comes together and meets it. So we'll sort of have, the orientation doesn't really matter right now, but I will include it just for completeness sake. So I, H, G. So I can sort of realize that I is going to be touching G. And if we want opposites, we can't be any of the 4 squares that are touching. So I is out. How about J or S or K? Well, I can realize that I and K are going to sort of meet up. And this edge of K, well, the K is going to sort of work his way over here. I think he'll be upside down. I'm not good at spatial reasoning myself either. And he's going to meet up with the G sort of like this. Okay. And then we think, well, what about the J? The J is actually going to fit here, and the S is going to go on top. So the J is the one who's going to be opposite G. And we could do that a little slower, but there's really only the 2 spaces left, and the J so neatly folds up to meet our base of I. Okay. And that's how you just have to slowly walk yourself through it. Handling nets, practicing nets is a good way to get an intuitive sense of the geometry here. So J is opposite the G, and that is D. Okay. So that does it for part A. We're going to be looking at question number 11, the very first question in part B, where the questions are now worth 6 marks, but we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for watching.